Hello, everyone. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Arvid. Arvid is from Stockholm in Sweden. So let's see what Arvid has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello, Arvid. How are you?
Hello, William. Is it William?
Yes, William. Yes. How are you doing today?
Oh, wow. I'm good, thanks.
So tell me, how's your day been so far?
My day has been really good. Actually, I started the day by taking the bicycle to work.
Okay.
And then I actually had some free time in the middle of the day, so I took a lunch with my lovely grandma.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and after work, just before we met, I actually had an exercise with my sister. So it was kind of a family day today.
You are very lucky.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I know.
Imagine having lunch with your grandmother, spend time with your sister. My goodness, I wish I could do that. And where are you from originally, Arvid?
So actually, I was living in a small village up in northern Sweden. I'm a Swedish guy.
Okay.
I've lived in Sweden for all my life, but I have also been traveling around the world, and I've also moved around in Sweden a lot. And recently, I lived up in northern Sweden in a small village called Arvidsjaur. It's actually mean Arvid, like my name, Arvid's lake. So it was a really special place with this northern light and everything. But right now I live in Stockholm.
I see. And all your family are back in this city?
Yeah, actually my mother and father lives in Uppsala, another semi-big city in Sweden, like the fourth biggest. And my sister and grandma lives in Stockholm as well. And that's why I could see them today in the middle of the week.
Amazing. And what do you do for work, for living, Arvid?
Actually, I've worked for the last 14 years in the Swedish Armed Forces as an officer. So on a daily basis, I work with leadership and especially with the cadets that are on the military academy and have their officer education at the Swedish Defense University. And there I train them in basic leadership skills and prepare them for work as an officer.
Wow, amazing. Yeah. My goodness, it must be very exciting, your job.
Yeah, I'm really excited. You know, when I think about my job right now, it's tingling in my stomach and I feel in all my body. And I think that's the thing you should go for, you know, lighten the fire within and gets you feel this, that you have to smile when you think about it. I think that's a good place to start.
Totally. And for sure, you don't feel like working, you feel like enjoying yourself, because when you do something that brings you happiness, it's like a joy. You feel like going to work every day.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know if you have interviewed someone from Japan recently, because it's a Japanese way of living as well. I think they call it ikigai. It's if you combine those four things, if you do what you love, and if that's also something that someone are willing to pay for, and combined with your talent and something you could do in your free time, that's your ikigai, what you are supposed to do. And it's really cool if you find something close to that.
You just made my day right now. I learned something new.
Cool.
And that's to your question, actually, I had people on the show all over the planet, and I always been very fascinated with Japanese culture. Yeah, always been, and I always wanted to have a Japanese person on the show. A few months ago, I reached reached 800 interviews on the show, and suddenly I was, inviting people the same way I invited you, and I invited this lovely man. I had a guess he could be from Japan, but I just invited the same way I invited you. I didn't know much about him, and when he said, "Yes, I'm from Japan, I'm from Tokyo," I was like, "Oh my goodness!" So, I saved his interview to celebrate the 800th interview celebration.
Oh,
And it
wow.
was amazing because he talked a lot about his culture. He talked a lot about Japan, about the way he's been raised. And actually, he's living in London because he's a theater. He looks in theater, musical theater. He's an artist. His parents as well is living in London, but he grew up in Tokyo, in Japan. So for me, it was like, wow. So I explored a lot in the conversation, in the interview about Japan.
Oh, wow. Cool. That's really cool.
Right. So through the game, I'm going to explore more about your traveling, about your job, and your life overall. Okay.
When I was 17, I had this big dream to actually move to Japan, at least for a while, like for 6 months or 1 year or so, to study, but also to compete in judo, because judo is from the beginning from Japan.
Okay.
And it's judo means the smooth way, but it's not always smooth way, but that's what it means. So I wanted to, because when I was younger, I used to compete a lot in judo, and I wanted to advance my skill and go to Japan. But actually, I never made it, but it's still kind of a dream to go to Japan.
Amazing. My dream, my bucket list as well. I would like to go to Japan. I would like to spend there like a few, long days, a few long weeks, like 3-4 weeks to get to see the country properly.
Oh, wow.
Arvid, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views? Yeah?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Amazing. Welcome to William in the Magic Box. So I have here my best friend. Okay, full of fun questions. I'm just going to play a song now just for us to relax a bit before the first question, okay? Let's do it.
Okay. Should I dance as well?
Yes, you can join me. There we go. Look, the Swedish moves.
Yeah.
Amazing. Arvid, before we
Yeah.
start the game, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay? Okay, first question for you is, how would your best friend describe yourself?
Wow, I love that question. So they'd probably describe me as loyal, calm, kind, but also countable and supportive and fun, strong, both mentally and physical, and also challenging in a good way, I hope. So I think that's the theme.
And when you think about yourself, Arvid, tell me, what do you like the most about being yourself? What do you think, okay, I love being this way? Tell me a little bit about it.
So I love that I have this from my father, actually. The way of my life approach is kind of the never giving up mentality, and also I mean, if it takes struggle to get there, then let's struggle. And I have this kind of endurance, both mentally and physical, which I really love, because it gives me all this capacity, but also a really drive and hunger. But I also really love that I have my confidence, and I'm also calm. But at the same time, I'm usually not when I'm stressed, but usually very present. And that's one thing I really love. Perhaps one of the things that I love the most, actually, because when I'm present in the moment, like with you or with someone else, that's where the magic happens. So I really love that.
Amazing, very good. And I think it's powerful when you live the present, you know, because the day we, you know, the nowadays we are so busy with our own lives, the world's always very fast. And when you find yourself living the present, I think it's very powerful. It's great.
Yeah, totally. I want to ask you a lot of questions, but it's you asking me, so I think it's okay, but I feel a bit rude here.
Don't worry, you are my guest. You are here to answer the questions, okay?
Okay.
Let's do it. Next one. Okay, Arvid from Sweden. Next question is, who is the most influential person in your life?
The most
influential person in your life.
Wow. That would be my wife.
Wow.
Yeah. Why is that? Because she inspires me a lot to live a fun and playful life and really share the love with the loved ones. And just go out and dance and have fun and not taking everything too serious. But also because, of course, I live with her. So she's the one that has this big impact on me, both since I look up to her, but also because I spend so much time with her. You know, I really believe this saying that you are the average of the 5 person you spend the most time with. Wow. That's interesting to think about, isn't it?
Totally, absolutely. I think spending time with our loved one, the person that we are sharing a life with, it's all become one person. It all become just one person in the end of the day, because we are sharing the same life. That's what I believe.
Yeah, exactly.
Saying that, tell me what's the biggest similarity between you and her and the biggest difference.
Wow. Okay, so let's start with the similarity. The biggest similarity, this is really interesting to think about. The biggest similarity must be our positive attitude to life. You know, we both see the opportunities instead of the all the threats and everything that's in our way. So that makes life really much easier together, of course. And our biggest difference is our tempo and like temperament. I am, as you see, I'm a bit slow in a way. I'm a bit reflective and love to have these deep conversations and think about things. But she is more spontaneous and go for it and like, come on, let's have fun. And I really love that about her. But we are very different in that aspect. Yeah.
That's why it works well, because the balance. You both balance each other.
We balance each other really well there. Yeah.
Very good. Next one. Let's do it. Right. Before the next question, tell me what do you like the most about your job? What's the biggest joy of it? Yeah. And the flip side, tell me something that you find a bit challenging.
So about my job as an officer in the Swedish Armed Forces, I really love working with people, and not just working with people, like working with the actual leadership skills. And I really love the self-leadership. I mean, it starts with you. So if you want to lead others, you have to know how to lead yourself. And I really love that journey, because it's kind of a journey to get to know yourself. The first step is get to know yourself, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities to grow. And then you start strengthening yourself along that path. And when you do that, you can become a true leader in this authentic way. I mean, a lot of leaders never get there to the authentic leadership, but when you do, it's really amazing what you can create. So that's what I really love about my job, actually. The on the flip side, my biggest challenging is, I mean, since it's a big organizations, we are like, in Swedish terms, it's a big organization. I mean, we are 10 million in the country, and it's 50,000 of these works in the armed forces in one way or another. So
Wow.
so it's a really big organization, which means that some decision making isn't on ground level. They are more on a top level, so it takes time. Like, some of the processes are way too complicated, and that's challenging if you want to develop and change things.
I see. Okay. Next question for you is, tell us about your guilt pleasure.
My guilt pleasure is my number one guilt pleasure is salted caramel ice cream, and eat it right from the box. I'd love to do it like half naked, also in just my underwears.
You know what? I love salted caramel ice cream as well. Not just ice cream, but like milkshake. I go to the cinema quite often. I love going to the cinema. And there is this company, I'm not sure if there is in Sweden called Five Guys. It's an American company called Five Guys. They do like burgers, they do everything. And they have this amazing salted caramel milkshake. And you have no idea. When you start drinking, it goes so fast because it looks like ice cream, a bit more melted. You know what I mean? Yeah. If one day have the opportunity to try, because you're gonna remember me, because it is something to remember.
Sounds a bit dangerous though. Like,
addictive. It is. Sometimes when I go to the cinema and I'm not feeling like, okay, I'm okay, I don't need to eat anything, I'm okay, I don't need popcorn. But when I see it, when I pass by, it's difficult to say no. I need to go there before going. It became like a habit now.
Wow.
You are more of a savory or a sweet person, like in taste?
Actually, my weakness is ice cream. I have this kind of a June challenge now, where I'm supposed to eat sweets like candy, because in Sweden we have this culture that we eat a lot of candy, and we have these like big stores where you can pick your own candy, and it's like a really big thing to do this basically on Saturdays, but nowadays, like, the Swedes pick it all days in the week. So that's a big thing. But now I have this June challenge where I am supposed to eat sweets only 3 times. And now it's not even in the middle of the month. And when I had my lunch today at my grandma's, she had made this wonderful cake. So yeah, and I tried it. It was really great. But now I have eaten my sweets for this month, so it will be a struggle to keep it together. But I'll try. But I'm really weak for this all sorts of ice cream.
Keep strong, can make it.
Yeah.
Next question, let's do it. All right, next question is, where do you see yourself living in 5 years' time?
Wow. Actually, me and my wife recently did this vision board for 7 years from now, like 2030. And there on that vision board, we have this dream house, because now we live in a pretty small apartment. So in 5 years, I think I live in a bigger apartment, but still in Stockholm. But then in 7 years, I think I live in this smaller, cause I'm a countryside boy from the beginning. I was grown up on a farm with all these animals and cattle and everything, sheep, hens and dogs and cats. And now I have lived in Stockholm for 10 years, and I really miss the countryside. So in 7 years, I will be closer to the countryside.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Talking about Stockholm, actually I've been there once a few years ago in Stockholm, and I remember it was summertime. I just spent 2 days, and it was a very short trip, but I kind of walked around the city, and I kind of felt a little bit the vibe of the city. But for you, being Swedish and living in Stockholm, what is the postcard of Stockholm? Tell me, people come for the very first time to Stockholm, where it's a must to see, which places it's a must that they cannot miss it, in your opinion?
For me, it's an easy one. It's the archipelago. I mean, the really thing with Stockholm compared to like Berlin or other big cities, even London, Stockholm has this beautiful environment with all the water, as you could remember. So I would say to you, depends on when you arrive. If you arrive this time of the year, like the summertime, get on one of those boats and go out to the archipelago. Just visit a small island, and it will be an amazing experience. Because I mean, you can do all this other tourist stuff. I mean, visit the royal castle and everything like that. But the special thing with Stockholm, in my opinion, because I'm a nature guy, I would say go out and enjoy.
And through those 10 years living in Stockholm, what for you it's the most? What's the negative part of the city, if there is any, in your opinion?
For me, as I can imagine for a lot of others living in bigger cities, it's the stressful way of living. So I really felt, actually, when I moved up north to the little small village, I really felt the stress in my system and in my body, with all the cars, all the people, like in the metro and everything. So now, for the last 3 years, I go biking around the city, and I try to avoid these crowded places, because that's stressful for me in a way that I couldn't imagine before. But I felt it, like when I moved up to this small village, I felt so much calmer, and I really saw the differences. So that's challenging, but I know one of my friends that really appreciate it, so he wants to be in that center of attention where everything happens, but not for me.
All right. Okay. I think there's always the down and the positive side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's always, and as you said, preference as well. Some people they like the this city, like on the go. Some people they like the city, but they prefer the calm. So it's always something to compare and to adapt ourselves as well. Not easy sometimes, but we need to find a way to adapt.
Yeah, and Stockholm is, I mean, it's not like New York, the city that never sleeps, but it's still, if you compare with other cities in Sweden, it's a lot of culture and a lot of events and things happening all the time. But you can also ask yourself, how many of these are you taking the benefit of and enjoying? Or is it possible that you could live somewhere outside Stockholm and go to Stockholm for the events?
I see. Ready for another one?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Next question. Next question is, How would you describe a perfect friendship?
Perfect friendship for me is a friendship that you gain energy from. It gives you more energy than it takes, but it also great support for you. I mean, if you feel a little bit low in energy or emotionally, or just have doubts. I mean, I've had a lot of doubts when I've passed through challenging times. So then then it really became clear to me which friends that I could trust and really supported me when I needed them, when they were there. So actually, those two are really important for me, like the energy flow and have fun and laugh and all of that, but also the support part.
Totally. Best friends, you don't go around saying, you're going to be my best friend, you're going to be my best friend. It doesn't work like that. When the connection is there, that's it.
Yeah,
it's like a relationship.
Exactly.
It's like a relationship, you know what I mean? Sometimes you can stay days, months without talking, but you know, when you're going to connect, it's going to be the same again. Yeah. Right. I have 3 questions left for you.
Wow.
Let's do it. Look at you dancing.
Yeah.
Before the next question, tell me, as you mentioned that, you've been traveling around the world, like traveling, you've been a lot of places. In your opinion, tell me, when you think about your experience, in other countries and, interact with different people, tell me, what do you think the Swedish people, there's something unique about the culture that you couldn't see anywhere else? Something that you go like, you know what? And Swedish people, they have a different way of, approaching life, or something unique that you never saw anywhere else around the world. Is there something in your opinion?
That's 2 things that comes up to my mind, and one thing is that we are pretty quiet and stay on our side and wait and so, but also we have this really strong work ethic. So we can see a lot of Swedish entrepreneurs and people that make these careers, but not just careers, like hard workers. So they are really loyal workers.
Right.
But also, and the other part with that we are a bit restricted and like to stay on a distance. Like it was a joke in during the COVID situation. And when they have this keep the distance and at least 2 meters and so on, the Swedes were just acting normal.
Really?
Yeah. Because in some, if you go to Spain, for example, and taking the bus and it's you and 2 other people, then it's normal to stay together and have a little talk and chit chat. But in Sweden, you try to find the opposite part of the bus just to stay alone for a while. So wow. It's something with this northern country, I believe, that we have had this culture for many years that we had to stay near the fire inside to keep ourselves warm, and the neighbor was over there, but in the warmer, I can imagine in the warmer country everyone was together, so I can imagine it's something like that.
So funny. That's so
it's
funny.
so funny. Just act normal and they will keep the distance.
For them, I was like, okay, you are having a normal life, nothing's gonna change.
Exactly.
Imagine I'm from Brazil. I'm Brazilian. I'm really from Brazil. Imagine for totally the opposite. Imagine
wow.
And actually, I've got some Brazilian friends in London, and you're like, my goodness, people already here. It's a bit cold, you know what I mean? Like cold, like you don't connect. Now everyone's gonna be apart forever. Now it's gonna be even worse in a way. It was a joke, but it makes sense.
Yeah. Exactly.
Cool. Next question is, what did you think was the most challenging part of being a kid?
Wow. the most challenging thing for me as a kid was two things. Uh, and one of them was that I understood more than I had the responsibility for. For example, my parents got divorced when I was 6 years old. So I felt with my little sister that I had greater responsibility than what was proper to my age. So that was one challenging. But the other more significant challenge was my shyness. I was really shy as a child, and that like hold me back. So I one really cute example, but it was from my first experience in school. We start school in Sweden when we are 7, and then the first 3 years is first, second, and third grade. One of the first weeks in school, I had a crush on a girl and like fell in love with her, Jennifer. And we lived on an island then, Gotland, one of the biggest islands. Like I said earlier, I traveled around, but anyhow, I had this really crush on Jennifer. So I ran home and wrote this really beautiful love letter, and like posted with hearts and everything, and put it in my small backpack. But I was so shy that I wasn't able to give it to her. So I kept it in my in my backpack for the whole year, and then another year, and then the third year it like fell apart.
Oh my God, that's
so it's sweet, but it was also really challenging to us to have been that shy.
Totally. Oh my God, it's interesting how those life experiences. As I said, you grew up too fast. You know what I mean? And because of the situation between your parents, and sometimes it can affect our personality as well because you're not prepared for those things. You know what I mean? Understand those things.
It has.
And it can affect. And some, as you said, you can be, even if you are shy, you can be even more. You can kind of somehow reflect as well.
Yeah. Both in a negative way and in a good way as well, of course.
Totally.
But it has really affected me, as you say. Yeah.
Absolutely. And somehow as well you became like an adult quicker, but at the same time as well your kind of personality didn't follow the same way, you know what I mean? Kind of went behind a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, in the end of the day, everything meant to be this way. Today I'm sure you are grateful for that experience because made the person you are today. And that's
exactly. Yeah, that's true.
Talk about family. Who in your family, of course, besides your wife, who in your family you feel more close to, you have more connection?
It's actually those two that I met today, my grandma and my sister. And if you want me to pick one, it's my sister. She is 1.5 years younger. And when my parents got divorced, it was me and her against the world. So I took her hand and we stayed together since that day.
My goodness, I got goosebump now. Like, my goodness, you're talking about that. Wow, that's interesting. I've got a sister as well, actually younger. My God, look, I've got goosebump.
Oh, you got goosebump. Wow.
Yeah, I'm saying that because it's interesting. My parents didn't get divorced like when I was young. They got divorced later on in life. But when we were around the same age as you, they were fighting a lot, you know what I mean? It was a lot of tension in the house. I couldn't sleep properly. My sister as well, because we could understand. Was a bit, for us, was scary to see both of them arguing, have those, issues. And as you said, it was just me and my sister. We were kind of protecting us, and we could understand. We just couldn't stop that, And that's why I feel it, the energy, because I know what you mean. You know what I mean? It's not easy for children when they see their parents, and it's good to talk about as well because it's good for people to, maybe they face the same challenge, or maybe parents they are listening watch this interview now, and maybe they can think about that because it can give a big impact in their children, because sometimes you think, oh, they're not listening, but actually they are, you know what I mean? You never know, they could go through. But we
exactly. And the children do understand so much more than we can imagine.
Totally.
That's one thing to be aware of. But the other thing is, and here is what I think that my parents did really good. That as a child, at least in my case, I want, of course, my mother and my father to stick together all their life, but I want something more than that. If on top of that, I do want my parents to be happy. And if happy means that they have to get divorced, then that's what they should do. Because I can see so much parents like stick together for their children's sake,
Yeah.
but that's even worth, I could say.
Totally.
Yeah.
My parents is so true. My parents, I remember my mom growing up, listening to my mom saying, and they were together just because my mom was scared to be alone with me, my sister, and she couldn't, afford to support us somehow because they don't understand as well. They are lost in their thoughts, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I remember when they got divorced, I was already living in London, I was an adult. And when they got divorced, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. I mean, in a way, that's amazing because they were happy, you know what I mean? I could see how happy they start a new life, you know what I mean? And now they are friends, they can talk. They're not like best friends, but they can talk now. They can have a normal conversation. If they need to talk about something, they can call each other, you know what I mean? There's no anymore those fights. I think they need to find their own directions, but you were very young. Well, my mom is going to be 60 next year. She's so young. My dad is just 2 years
Really
old.
young.
So
Wow.
I mean, when me and my sister grew up, they were still, learn about themselves. And suddenly those two kids come along and they're not ready to be parents. But anyway, back to the same part, everything meant to be this way. And I'm happy that all of that happened because I love the way I think and the way the place I am right now. Family, always beautiful, but at the same time as well can be difficult.
Really difficult. I have had some really challenging times. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
2 questions left. Let's do it. Wow, I didn't think that Swedish people can dance a lot.
Yeah, we are really great dancers.
Before the next question, Arvid, as the beginning of the interview, you were saying how much you enjoy your job, how much you enjoy your career. Yeah, tell me a moment or a situation in your career that you go like, you know what? I'll never forget that. That situation or moment always gonna have a special place in my heart.
Actually, this is a moment that came to me today. It didn't happen today. It happened like 5 years ago. But the moment actually came to me today. That's why it's interesting that you asked me this question. But actually, it was when I was living up in the north, because then I was a commander for the mountain ranger platoon, and they were specialized and special trained for the operations in the mountain terrain, both with the coldness and with the mountains. And as a leader, I had to take this challenge, which was to put ourselves up on the highest mountain in Sweden. We don't have that high mountains in Sweden, but high mountains in Sweden is like 2,000 meters or higher. And it was one of those mountains, actually the highest in Sweden. It has a really difficult Swedish name called Kebnekaise. So it's really difficult name to announce. And we went there by ski. So we had these ski mountaineering skis where we can walk up and then ski our way down. And it was on our way down, it was this really steep path where we had to both use our ropes to be able to go down, but then we can also ski some parts. And I could remember that I was so scared, like, I don't know if I will make this, or if I will I have done some things, like parachuting and so on, with a lot of adrenaline. But this was something else. Like, I don't know if I will come out of this alive. And that was a really strong experience to overcome that fear.
Mm-hmm.
And by support of great team members, be able to actually go down from the hill. That was a really strong experience because, there was a lot of ingredients in there, like believe in yourself, in your teammates, have this faith and trust, and show yourself outside your comfort zone. Show yourself that you are able to do what you thought was impossible. So that was really cool.
Wow, amazing. Very good. Okay, next question is, what has been the happiest point of your life?
Wow. Actually, the happiest point of my life was soon it will be 1 year ago, the 13th of June, when I married my wife. Actually, actually, that was of course, I had my expectation before the day and the wedding and everything, but it was so much more than I could expect. So it was like this perfect day, with all sunny, but then my wife's mother told her before that if it's during the ceremony when you change rings, if it's comes a bit of rain, it means a lot of luck, and then it's supposed to be sunny all day. And when we should change the rings, the sky just opened and there was some raindrops on us. Yeah, and then the sun came back. So it was like this like, I don't know, spiritual feeling in the air, and everyone was crying and laughing and screaming. I mean it was crazy. So yeah, that's the happiest moment of my life.
Wow. And I can see your wife watch this interview right now and smiling as well. Amazing. Beautiful. Ready for the last question?
Yeah, sure.
Last one. Let's do it. Before the last question, Arvid, people watch the interview right now. Maybe they would like to start a career, in the Air Force, in the military, military life, What would be your best piece of advice for those people?
So my best piece of advice for you that's watching right now is to start with your why. So why do you want to do this? I mean, not the first that's top of mind. No, I mean a bit deeper. Listen to your heart. And it could be fine that you want to challenge yourself or develop yourself or something, but if you can go deeper than that and connect with your why in a deeper level, that's the first step. Because when you know that, then you can force yourself to do things that you earlier thought was impossible and see that it will happen. And if you get that far, I could say it doesn't matter what kind of career that you want, but if you go that path as a baseline, then you're up for everything or anything. Really.
Very good. Right, last question for you is, tell us something interesting about yourself.
So one interesting thing is that I was on this television show last year, where the wedding I was talking about was actually an arranged wedding. So it was actually a married at first sight.
Really?
Yeah, the Swedish version.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're with your wife.
Yeah, but the thing is that this show are being shown on Swedish television right now. So I don't know when you're gonna publish this, but in 2 weeks, they will send the last episode. So right now, I mean, a lot of Swedes are like, how will it end? How will it go? Back and forth. The newspaper write about it and everything. So every week it's 10 episodes, and every week they have shown 8 out of 10. And every week we have more than 1 million people watching, Swedes watching. And it's like in Sweden, since it's a small country, it's the biggest television show right now.
Oh, so your wife is part of it then?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm talking with a very famous man in front of me, a Swedish famous man.
Yeah. Since a couple of weeks ago, I mean, for like 6 months, no one knew who I was, but now a lot of Swedes know. So it's kind of strange.
Amazing. Amazing. Very good. Okay, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking. Okay? So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like. Don't forget to share this video. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game. Let's start with family.
Close to heart.
Money.
Important.
Life.
Joy.
Love.
Meaning.
Sex.
Playful.
Politics.
Boring but necessary.
Religion.
Faithful.
Friendship.
Really important.
Fear.
The path to grow.
One word for desire.
Really wanting.
Regret.
Hesitation.
Success.
Winning.
Wish.
Birthday.
Happiness.
Joy.
One word for Stockholm.
Lovely.
Lovely. Very English. Lovely. One word for Sweden.
Beautiful, actually. Yeah.
And the last one now, Swedish Army or Swedish Air Force. One word.
Heavy.
Interesting. Okay, let's pretend I'm going to meet your lovely wife for a coffee, and I'm going to ask her, what is the most beautiful thing about Arvid, and what's something that he still needs to work on, to improve on?
Yeah.
What should say?
She would say that the most beautiful thing with Arvid is his smile. And the way that he looks at me with his presence. And one thing that he really needs to work with is how to manage his time. Because he wants to do all these things, like say yes to that and that and that, but he still got 24 hours in a day. Yeah.
I'm glad. What's her name, your wife?
Ida.
Thanks so much for letting him doing the interview. Take the time for the interview, okay? I know he's very busy, but he took time. Thank you very much, okay? You are the one in charge. You let him doing the interview. Thank you.
Exactly. I have actually asked her before, and she said yes.
Thank you very much. I knew, like, behind a strong man, there's always a strong woman as well. Like a very strong, powerful woman. That's what I believe.
Like a stronger woman, actually, yeah.
You said right, a stronger. They are in charge. For sure.
Yeah.
And I would ask the same question to your lovely sister. Would be the same answer regards about yourself?
Yeah, exactly the same. Yeah.
Okay. Let's play now Arvid and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. But before that, let's play the music one more time. Let's do it. All right, but before you ask me the question, tell me what's your favorite Swedish word?
Wow, my favorite Swedish words. Uh, it must be. mm, it's like a word that describes it's in Swedish. It's bästa tänkbara. It's like the best thing that you can imagine.
So
So if
say again, let me try to say.
yeah, bästa
Bästen,
tänkbara.
tänkbara.
Yeah, you got it right. Yeah,
Got it right.
and that's the best thing that you can imagine.
Amazing. Very good. You can ask me a question now.
Okay, so William, tell me about one situation or one thing that really had a great impact on you or in your life.
Wow, wow. You put me in spot now. Wow, good one. Very good one. Okay, a situation or a moment that had a big impact in my life. Right, so many. My goodness, I left Brazil when I was 19 years old. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a story that I'm very proud of. Actually, something that when I look back, I go like, my goodness, how I made it happen. Yeah, so when I was 19 years old, I had the opportunity to move to Portugal, to Europe, yeah, before moving to London. And I was 19 years old, full of dreams, full of, you know, desires. And I just want to, you know, gain the world, be around the world and learn and grow and be a better person. It wasn't easy back in Brazil. My family, they were poor, you know what I mean? I was very, very lucky because I had a very good education, very poor. I was poor, but I had very good education. And I'm so grateful for that. Long story short, when I had the opportunity to go to Portugal to live Europe, when you are 19, you do things, you don't think about the future, don't think about, you just want to do it. Yeah. You just go with it. It's like, it's a beautiful feeling, because just do it, just go, 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 go. And I remember 1 year before I left Brazil, I need to find the money for the ticket. It was a long story. One day I'm going to write a book about it because it's been very inspiring. But anyway, so for me, it was very busy. I don't remember about my last 6 months in Brazil before I left because I was so busy trying to find the money for the ticket, for the plane ticket, for my rent. It was a lot of things happened at the same time. But the moment when I never forget the moment when I sat down in the airplane, yeah, with this lovely lady who came to Portugal. And I remember when I sat down in the plane for the very first time, I'd never been on a plane before. And it was one of my dreams to be on a plane, yeah. And I remember when I sat down, I left my mom crying in the airport because, I was saying goodbye, for the uncertainty. I didn't know what was going, what I mean, happen for me. I was literally across the world, alone. And I never forget a moment because I sat down in the plane, I looked in the window, and I was like, my goodness, I made it. It's happening. I'm going to Europe because it was so hard for me to get to that moment. It was really impossible at the time because I didn't have, ways to find, to support me, to find the money and everything. And, again, back to the 19 years old, you just go, you just make it happen somehow, you just go after your dreams. And I remember when I sat down in the plane, and this lovely lady, she asked me, William, do you know how to put the seat belt? Yeah. And I was so lost in my thoughts that I was so like feeling lost that I was in a plane for the very first time before takeoff. And she was like, William, wake up. Are you here? I said, oh, what happened? She was like, do you know how to put the seat belt? I said, no, can you help me? And she showed me how to put the seat belt. That was the moment for me that, when I say about impact, that was the moment when I realized that if you want to do something in your life, everything's possible. Everything's like, you can make it, not easy, but you can do it. So for me, that moment, that situation for me, changing, leave my Brazil, my home country, and to go to another different country, that I never, and I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know what was expecting me there. So for me, I always see this moment as a very special moment for me because I literally, then when I realized that, okay, now they're not plan B anymore, just plan A. Because when I was living in Brazil, I was living alone in a big city, in the capital of my state, but I had my parents. You know, if something goes wrong, I had the plan B there. But from that moment on, plan B didn't exist anymore. It was just plan A. And that's when I realized. So for me, that was a very moment, that powerful moment for me, because that when we were talking about growing so fast, yeah, like growing fast. That when was the moment that I felt so strong, and I felt so much like, that's okay. It's me now. It's just now it's down to me to to live a life right now. Of course, it would be something very wrong, you know what I mean? People would help me somehow, but from that moment when I realized that, okay, now the connection has cut now between you and your family, then this protection, this safe place, it's gone now. Now it's all about what you're going to do about living your life. So for me, it was very powerful. It's a great question, because that's when I remember about, and I could tell you so many other moments as well that, happened to me, that I became a better person. I made some mistakes. I made some, things that make me grow. But this moment, Arvid, it was a powerful moment that I'll never forget. That I never forget when I sat down in that plane, and, I had this moment with myself, and I was like, oh my God, this is happening now. I'm going to Europe. My goodness, and suddenly I realized that, okay, now it's just plan A. So let's, take that serious. And I'm so grateful for, when I look back, I was like, my goodness, I'm so grateful that I had this moment, because at that moment when I realized that it's only me now, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question the way you asked, but this is the moment for me that gave a big impact in my life.
I really love your answer, William. And for me, that's really inspiring, because I have met so many inspiring persons along my life path so far. But for sure, I will keep the image of William, 19, sitting in that plane, looking out the window. Yeah. And got this feeling of confidence. I made it, but also there's no way back now. And I have had similar experience for myself. And that's really something for me right there, inspiring. And I will also remember the belt, and like you are in your own world of thoughts.
Yeah.
And it came down to one spot, like it's plan A now. There are no easy or safe ways out. And I think that's, like putting yourself out there, like go for something and really put in the effort, but also put yourself out there in a way that's risky, but also in the same moment you feel so much alive.
Totally.
Yeah, I really love that story.
Thank you so much. And sometimes when I find myself down for some reason or melancholic, I remember that moment. I go like, William, why you feel this way? You know what I mean? Again, goosebumps. I remember that. And that's what makes me, okay, you know what? There's nothing what's happening right now. I've been through so many, some challenge that's, come on. Sometimes I go like, come on, William, come back. Where is this 19 years old? Sometimes I remember that, and it makes me feel better somehow, because sometimes it's good for us to remember those moments like that we've been through life, to realize that we are we are in a good place somehow. You know what I mean? Life never stops. You can go on, carry on, and that's the way I see life. So yeah, thanks for making me go back on that moment again. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that one of the most important lessons in life, actually, remember where you came from. Not only in these challenging times, but also in those times of pleasure and joy and everything, where it's so easy to just shift your focus and set up new goals and things like that. But in that moment, if you can be present and remember where you came from, then you can see the whole journey and those defining moments on the way. And that's where you can catch yourself.
Totally. And make us feel proud, strong,
Yeah,
and you know what I mean? It makes us feel good
Yeah,
about life, and that's what makes life interesting.
yeah,
That's what life is about. It's about for you to think about, realize, and feel good about it. You know what I mean? Not
yeah,
easy sometimes, but you know, think about the good things that you've done so far, things that made you feel strong and happy, and it's gonna change your mindset and it's gonna put you in a better place, in a better way of
yeah.
thinking. Yeah. Did you enjoy the interview?
Very much so.
Thank you so much for taking the time. Thanks for being sweet and kind and accepting my invitation. But before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
Mm. I was thinking about the sky is the limit, but I want to add to that because, I mean, for me, the sky is the limit is a way to approach life forward. Like
Mhm.
there is no limitations. You can achieve so much more than you possibly can imagine. So it's about thinking bigger now than what you know now. That's the trick, you know. The sky is the limit, because otherwise you will put those glass roofs on top of your head and
Mhm.
bounce in them, but they don't really exist. So you can cut them off and realize that the sky is the limit. But I want also to add to that remember where you came from, remember the journey, as you told me. So those two, the sky is the limit, but remember where you came from, feel proud.
Yeah, see the sky, but be connected with the roots as well, where you come from.
Yeah,
Yeah, be connected.
exactly.
Always be connected. That's the beauty of life as well, of our personality. You know, it's connected with these roots. You know what I mean? That's how we
Exactly.
think for sure.
Exactly. Sure.
Thank you so much. Regards to your family, to your sister, and to your wife, and you keep in touch. It was a pleasure. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for me as well. Actually, I was a bit nervous before, but in your company, everything felt both easy and flowing, and I felt secure and
Mm.
had so much fun. Thank you.
I'm glad. I'm glad you felt secure. I think you know again. Going out of our comfort zone, you never know, can brings you so much joy. You never know. So thank you very much. I think it's like a connection. You know what I mean? I couldn't make you feel comfortable if you didn't make me feel comfortable at the same time as well. So I think it's a reflection, and I think that's how things work. That's how
Mm.
we connect with people. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. Okay.
true. Thank you.
Have a good
Take
night.
care.
Take care.
You too.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.